guys, welcome to my I3 webinar for Cycle 4 covering Storybird. My name is Christine Seapal, and I work at Strady Middle School in Rowlett and teach 7th grade reading. And my partner's name is Crystal Shepard, and she works at Webb Middle School as librarian. So let me put up our information for you guys. There we are. And then here's our emails and Twitter handles in case you'd like to contact us. And if you have any questions about my presentation today. The topic we'll cover is how to use Storybird. This webinar will aid us in instructing 21st century learners and move toward a modern digital age of classwork and learning. For Cycle 4, the focus is student collaboration. Storybird aligns with ISTE Standard 6, being a creative communicator. This means students communicate clearly and express themselves creatively for a variety of purposes using the platforms, tools, styles, formats, and digital media appropriate to their goals. Storybird is a global community of storytellers, readers, writers, and artists of all ages. Storybird is a tool that will allow you to empower your students to write, read, collaborate, discover, share, and publish. The idea behind Storybird is to enable writers to use their words and Storybird's art to create seamless, professional-looking stories in a simple way. This is an especially powerful tool for those who struggle to get students excited about writing. Imagine that. When students can create visually appealing digital stories, they tend to be more engaged. Teachers can view all class writing on their iPad, Chromebook, or mobile device, or desktop computer, and allow students to work collaboratively to create stories together. According to Storybird, in a learning scenario, starting with pictures is powerful. It stirs the emotions while engages the brain and jumpstarts students into their text, avoiding that blank page syndrome. And it's effective. Schools have seen as much as a 3 grade level jump in literacy when using Storybird throughout the year. Today, more than 5 million students and 400,000 educators use Storybird. They've published 15 million stories and read them for several billion minutes. Storybird is free to use. Schools raise funds. Before I walk you through how to register, I want to go over these educator member benefits. So as you can see, there can be an unlimited number of students per class, and you as the educator can have unlimited classes within your account. So as many students as you want to sign up, you can. There are 3 formats students can write in. These are picture books, poetry, and long form books. And picture books are smaller, like graphics on a page with text. Long form books are meant to be multi-chapter. You have a private classroom. You can add students without requiring email addresses, which is great because you know, as I do, our students probably don't all have their GISD email addresses memorized. You can issue and manage assignments. It does align with Common Core. There's a story review panel, comment moderation panel. So if students comment on each other's work, you can moderate that. You can grade student work. You can award visual stickers and award badges, and you can link classes so students can collaborate with others. There is optional Google integration, which we all use Gmail accounts, so that's great. You can use a Google login, a Chrome app, and this is the next section, the sharing and printing. This is the section where there could be fees, but it's completely optional. If you can see the part that
Sorry, guys. I think my computer just froze up. Give me 1 second.
That says printable PDF download and ebook versions of student stories. That does cost $1.99 and up. You can download credits as low as 20 cents per story, but that's totally optional. There's no need to print this because it's all digital, but if your students do want a hard copy of a printable PDF download or ebook, they would have to pay for that. And that is something I would highly suggest you ask the parents about because, as you know, parents love to have student work. To the next part where it says hardcover and softcover editions of student stories. So they truly can print a book that looks exactly like, order a book that looks exactly like books in the store that are very beautiful and seamless, and they should be very proud of their work. So that is $12.99 and up, and you would have to shop in their store to view your options on that. Fundraiser options. You can run fundraisers where parents can purchase these professionally printed editions of student work. However, I'm not going to get into that because I just want to talk about the student creation and collaboration portion and how you as the educator can sign up and get started using Storybird. But I just wanted to mention that in case that is something you're interested in. Just go to storybird.com and you can read up more on how to run fundraisers. So to register, you will go to storybird.com/educators. Then you'll click sign up for free. You'll click on the Google sign in and then select your Google account. So I will show you how to do that. Here I am already at storybird.com/educators. So I'm going to click on the sign up for free button here at the top. And then there's that Gmail button that I'm going to click on. And I didn't have to select my account because I've already logged into Storybird before. But if you haven't, you'll have a pop-up and you'll just click on your Garland ISD email account and type in your password, and then it'll log you in. So I'm going to walk you through the tabs at the top of this page so you can see what each section is all about here. So on this first tab up here where it says you, that's basically what it is. It's all about you and your stuff. So you have a bookshelf. I'll click on that and show you. It says I don't have any books on my bookshelf yet, but you could put books in picture books in here. So that's just stuff that you've read or want to read. Following. I'm already following one person, and I believe that is Storybird, because you automatically are signed up to follow them. Go back, I think I clicked on something. There we go. I'm already following Storybird because they automatically have you follow Storybird, but you can follow your friends, artists, and writers. If you come across some work on here and you're like, wow, this person's a really great writer, I'd like to read more, I'd like to stay connected, you can follow that account and then manage your list here as it grows. It's a little picture for you. So right there, you would see the follow button next to each book that you're interested in. So it says click the follow button to get regular updates from friends, writers, and artists, and their stuff will appear in your following stream. And then, of course, they said they've already started following themselves, which is cool. Storybird does have challenges. So the December challenge is it's New Year's Eve, and you've been given the chance to do one thing over to turn it all around, choose wisely. And so your challenge is to write a single chapter long form story in response to that prompt, which is cool. And you can do the challenge, and you can have your students do these challenges, which is also cool because you don't have to come up with the prompts, they're already here. There's another one called the do-over. And then, yeah, you can just go through, you can see all the fun stuff they have. it is neat to browse through this because they feature a lot of cool stuff. Okay, we'll go back to that U tab at the top. And then there's your account settings, and I don't really need to show you anything there yet. And then there's the help FAQ section. So if you have any general questions, you can search that and find some answers. The next one is the studio, which will show you your students' work. I have several classes already set up, but I'm just going to show you an example class for the sake of student privacy. So let's create a class together right now. You'll just click this drop-down button right here. Go to add a class. We'll call this example class number 3. And then, well, number 3, because I've already gone through this presentation a couple times. So this will be on my 3rd example class, and I'll select grade level. I'll stick with 7th grade class. All right, so it takes us back to that main page, and I'm going to select that 3rd example class. And as you can see, it has a class code. So X8FCZ is what students would use to link themselves into this class. It says, we can't wait to see what your students write. Check out our resources or create an assignment to get them going. But before we look at that, it has examples of what your page might look like once students get started writing. So it'll categorize it by title, student name, their username, the last time they made changes, your grade if you've graded it, and then the green check mark means that it is published and available in the class library and in the parent view. So if they have not published their book stating I'm finished, I'm ready to finalize this and publish, it won't be in the parent view and it will not be in the class library. So that is only after they've published. Star is giving an award. And then if you would like to share this, you can share it. You can choose to share a private link or embed of your student's work. So that's kind of cool. And then that's if you wanted to buy it, which I'm not going to get into, or if you wanted to delete it, which you probably wouldn't want to. So I'm going to click on this first one. It says this is a sample picture book. You can read it by clicking on it. When your students have created their own stories, their work will be displayed here and the sample story will disappear. From here, you can review their work, grade it, provide feedback, and download or order printed books. So this says the status is published. The content is 15 pages, 196 words. So it's kind of neat that it tells you the word count and the page count in case you have minimums for your students when you assign something. It tells you when they've started it, when they updated it, and when they've published it. In addition, it has story text. So if you just want the text version of this without flipping through the pages, you can see a quick overview by just scrolling here. And it has it divided by chapters. Or should I say, I'm sorry, not by chapters, by page numbers. On this side, it says add to assignment. So if I wanted to add it to my assignment number 1, I could categorize it over here. It looks like Storybird has 2 fake assignments, books about cats and books about dogs, but I'll leave it where it is. Your grading, you can give an A+ to an F on here, so anything in between, or you could give a numeric grade. So let's say I'd rather this person have a 96, more specific than an A+. And then your it says students will not see these notes. These are just for you. So if you're starting to see a trend, students are struggling with punctuation or capitalization, and you can write a note to yourself, and that way later you can say, okay, I saw that they're struggling with X, Y, and Z. Maybe I need to go back and reteach that, but students won't see that. At the bottom here, this is where you will give your students private or public feedback. This example up here says, This is an example of a comment. All students in your class will be able to see this on the story. So you would want to add some positive feedback here, something students can be proud of if you wanted it to be public. And then you can save your critiques for a private comment, which this one right here in this tan colored box, this is an example of a private teacher comment. And your student will be notified on their dashboard when you add one of these, and only your student can see it. Okay, so let's go through this little book here. Storybird picture books are ideal for short visual stories. Use an artist's portfolio like this one, or search for a theme like cats and load the images into the editor, which I will show this to you in just a few minutes. Then explore, play with the pages, add them to pages, and shuffle their sequence. Story ideas emerge as you drift through the art. Your mind makes connections between one image and another. Before you know it, you have the bones of your story. Picture books expand to match your ambition, from simple rhymers to complex narratives. They also help you jump past the blank page. The images draw you in and drain your fear about getting started, or what should I write? Want to write novels or long chapters? Use the chapter book format. Want to play with images in just a few words? Try poetry. Finally, let the picture book process guide you when possible. You can write a story before visiting Storybird and then find art to match. But your mind will buzz if you look for stories hidden inside our images. It's like storytelling and puzzles all in one. Stories have been published on Storybird, and now it's your turn. All right, the end. Okay, so that was just an example. Now that we have looked at that, I'm going to toggle over here to the Students button. So this is where you will add or invite your students. You have two options. You can create accounts for your students and then print personalized invitations where everything's, and it has instructions for your students and your parents, because your parents can log in using their information and view it. Or students can create their own accounts. It says use this option if you want your students to create their own accounts, less typing for you. You can also use the class code option to join students who have been released from other classes. We will look at the parents now. Parent involvement helps kids succeed. Their child's work, or you can give them a link and provide the class code. So that would be a private parent showcase link. Parents will need their child's Storybird username to access their work, which is great because they have print invitations and you can just print off those and hand them out, and it's no work for you. Email notifications when their child publishes new work, and remember, that's just publishing. So that doesn't mean every single time your child goes in and edits or adds. That's only the final step after they have agreed to publish, because they're done, and then that's when the parents will get that notification. And parents aren't going to see the work of other students in the classroom. Assignments. Okay, so this is where you can organize assignments. Let's create an assignment just as an example. So let's say I am a reading teacher and we just talked about vocabulary in the 4th 6 weeks. I'll do vocabulary cycle 4, and then I would say something here like use a minimum of 15 new vocabulary words throughout your story. You can add optional media. You can upload an image or a file. You could request that students use a specific artist down here. I usually just say use all artwork, but if there's just one person in particular you like on Storybird, you would type in their information here. And then another option is to use a specific tag. So if you want them to write a book about cats, going back to our cats example, you could write cats, and then they would only be able to use work that was tagged by cats or tagged with cats. Format. Long form was the multi-chapter, picture book was the multi-page, and poem was a single image. But I usually say picture book because it's really difficult unless you're working on this for like an entire cycle chapter, but multi-page is certainly possible. So I will say multi-page and then create a due date. Let's say January 31st. Save assignment. And due dates will appear on the students' dashboards as a reminder that that needs to get done. It says due in 47 days, do this assignment. And you can go back and edit. I'm going to skip fundraisers because we are not going to get into that. And then there is the library, which it says nothing's in the class library yet because this is my fake example class. But if students have published their work, it could be viewed here, and then your students could comment. Okay. So going back to the studio, there is a way to link classes. If I click on, let me go back to my example class. This is where the collaboration piece comes into play. At the very bottom, I could say link. If I click on the settings wheel over here, at the very bottom, I'm under example class number 3. I could say I want to link this with my other example class. It says class linking lets students from different classes collaborate, read, and comment on each other's stories and share libraries and reading lists. So I think this is really neat because you can have students in completely different class periods working on the same thing, and then they can log in and see how they've edited each other's work or added on, which is really cool. Or another way to do collaboration would just be to have students sit down together at a computer, brainstorm together, and just work on it together. But if you would like, distance collaboration, linking classes is definitely a way to do that. So I'm going to model quickly how to create, and then we will talk about different ways that different content areas can use Storybird. So let's say I'd like to create a book involving cats. This one looks interesting. So I'll click on this artwork. If I find it inspiring, then I will go with it. So you can preview the picture options you'll have. Interesting. Okay. I'm just going to say use this art for the sake of this example, and I'll say picture book. And then you can drag and drop all the images you want to create your story. So let's say this one looks good, or I changed my mind and I'd rather do this one. That's fine. And then you would type here and then add the next page. And that's pretty much how it works. You could do a full page. You can see that when I hover and hold down, have it take up a certain amount of space. Let's say I want half or all. It's totally up to you. And then you can save and exit. So I'm going to save and exit. Oh, I need to give my story a title. All right, title. There we go. And it does require that title because that's how it categorizes that information on your student page. So my story isn't finished yet, correct? And then I would go to my dashboard. But if I am finished, which I certainly should not be upon my first time logging in and creating, I would do publish my story. And you would want to do it privately as a student. I'm going to go to my dashboard. And that's it. That's all I have to show you on Storybird. Let me give you some ideas for different content areas before we end this presentation. So, English and reading are a natural fit for Storybird. Students can create storybooks, long-form books, or write poetry. Also search and read published work by others. However, you can really use it in any content area. For foreign language classes, students can practice writing in another language like Spanish, being sure to conjugate verbs correctly. For history, students can retell real-life stories like the Battle of Gettysburg, talk about the life of George Washington, or explain British Parliament. The only catch is finding artwork that matches the topic. As the teacher, you may want to do a quick search ahead of time and give student a list of options. To see if there is artwork to match your theme, simply go to the search bar at the top of the Storybird website, click on artwork, type in the desired theme, and see what you can come up with. So since I mentioned George Washington, let's see if we can find, oh, there we go. We'll do George Washington. Anything over him. And then I gotta click on artwork. And as you can see, there's George Washington, and I could use that art if I wanted to. We talked about British Parliament, so let me search up Britain real quick. And I could use any of these as my artwork for my story. All right, for science, students could receive a list of vocabulary words over units such as the Earth's solar system or dinosaurs. Students could be expected to accurately incorporate, let's say, at least 15 vocabulary words into an imaginative book. For math, students could write their own word problems and come up with answers. For example, we all remember those random word problems like Carlos has 15 pineapples. If he gives 6 away, how many does he have left? So there's probably a ton of good pictures where they can illustrate those word problems and then write the word problems. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or my partner, Crystal, and we'll try our best to respond to everyone. Please email us again. There's our email and Twitter handles. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful afternoon and that you've learned something that you can take away and bring back to your classroom. So y'all have a great day, and I've enjoyed talking about Storybird.